I spent 3 weeks planning what I thought would be the perfect birthday dinner for my girlfriend. I booked Orem, the kind of restaurant where reservations take months. I ordered her favorite dishes, picked out an expensive Bordeaux, reserved the private dining room with the city view. I even had a custom chocolate cake made with edible gold leaf. I thought I was doing everything right. I thought that night would change everything between us. But when I stepped into the hallway to grab my jacket, I heard something that made my blood run cold. Before I continue, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city in the comments below, and if you have ever felt like you gave everything to someone who did not deserve it, hit that like button. Subscribe, because what happened next taught me the most valuable lesson of my life. Now let me take you back to that night. Jessica and I had been together for 2.5 years. We met at an art gallery opening downtown on a rainy October evening. She was standing in front of a contemporary sculpture, wine glass in hand, looking like she belonged in a magazine. We started talking about the exhibit, and within an hour I was completely drawn in. She was smart, witty, had incredible taste in art and food. She worked in marketing for a tech startup, and always seemed to know exactly what she wanted. I am a software engineer, and back then, I thought I had finally found someone who balanced out my quiet, methodical personality with her vibrant energy. Jessica loved sushi, expensive red wine, modern art museums, and Sunday brunches at trendy cafes. She had this way of making ordinary moments feel special, or at least, that is what I believed at the time. Looking back now, I realize I was so focused on making her happy that I never stopped to ask if she was making me happy too. 3 weeks before her birthday, I started planning the dinner. I wanted it to be perfect. I called Orem and put down a $500 deposit for their private dining room. It had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city skyline, soft ambient lighting, and enough space for her closest friends. I spent hours crafting the menu. Chilean sea bass with lemon butter sauce, because she mentioned loving it once. Truffle risotto, because she posted about it on Instagram 3 months prior. Wagyu beef that cost more per ounce than my weekly grocery bill. And for drinks, I ordered a bottle of Bordeaux that the sommelier promised was exceptional. The price tag made me wince $250, but I told myself she was worth it. The dessert was my favorite touch. I contacted a specialty bakery and ordered a custom chocolate cake with layers of raspberry filling and honest-to-God edible gold leaf on top. They charged me an extra $120 for the gold, but I wanted her to feel like royalty. The night of the dinner finally arrived. Jessica showed up wearing a red dress that fit her perfectly. Her makeup was flawless, hair styled in loose waves. She looked stunning, and when she walked into that private room and saw the setup, her eyes lit up. 8 of her friends were already there, girls from her college days and a few from her office. The room glowed with candlelight. Soft jazz played in the background. The view outside showed the city twinkling under a clear November sky. Jessica immediately started taking selfies with her friends, laughing and posing by the windows. I stood back, watching her smile, feeling this warm sense of pride. I did this. I made her this happy. For a moment, everything felt perfect. I caught her eye across the room, and she blew me a kiss. My heart swelled. Dinner service began. The waitstaff brought out each course with practiced elegance. The sea bass was perfectly cooked. The risotto was creamy and rich. The wagyu practically melted on our tongues. Jessica kept reaching over to squeeze my hand, telling me this was the best birthday ever. Her friends chimed in, saying I had set the bar impossibly high for their boyfriends. I laughed it off, but inside I was already thinking about what came next. In my jacket pocket hanging in the hallway was a small velvet box. Inside that box was a diamond ring I had been making payments on for 6 months. But then about an hour into the dinner, I noticed something small. When I reached for Jessica's hand during a toast, she pulled away quickly, almost like she had touched something hot. I brushed it off. Maybe her hand was sticky from the food. Then I noticed her friends Madison and Sophia whispering to each other and giggling while looking in my direction. Madison caught my eye and quickly looked away. Sophia smirked into her wine glass. A strange feeling crept into my chest. Were they planning a surprise for me? Did they know about the ring? Maybe Jessica told them and they were excited. That had to be it. I took a deep breath and pushed the unease away. Everything was fine. Everything was perfect. After we finished the main course, I excused myself to grab my jacket from the hallway. The ring was in the pocket and I wanted to feel it, make sure it was still there, remind myself that tonight was the night. My hands were already starting to sweat thinking about getting down on one knee. I walked out of our private room and down the dimly lit hallway. The restaurant had that hushed, expensive atmosphere where even footsteps on carpet felt intrusive. I was halfway to the coat check area when I heard laughter coming from another private room. The door was open just a crack, and I could see movement inside. I would have kept walking, but then I heard my name. I froze. The voice was Madison's. She said something I could not quite make out, and then there was an explosion of laughter. My feet stopped moving. My brain screamed at me to keep walking to not eavesdrop, but my body would not listen. I stepped closer to the door, staying just out of sight. Madison's voice came through clearly now. "Oh my God, Jess, this is so extra." "He really went all out, did he not?" Jessica's voice replied, and I will never forget the tone. It was mocking, dripping with condescension. "I know, right? It is almost embarrassing how hard he is trying." My stomach dropped. I pressed myself against the wall, barely breathing. Sophia chimed in. "Do you think he is going to do it tonight?" Popped the question. The laughter that followed was loud and cruel. Multiple voices joining in, like they were watching a comedy show. Then Jessica spoke again, and every word landed like a punch. "If he does, I am going to let him get down on one knee, let him make a complete fool of himself, and then I will dump him right there in front of everyone." I could not breathe. The hallway started spinning. Madison sounded shocked but excited. "Oh my God, you are savage. But why?" "Because he actually thinks he is in my league." Jessica's voice was cold now, factual. "A software nerd who wears the same 3 hoodies, please." "I have been waiting for the right moment to end this, and what better moment than when he is at his most pathetic," Sophia giggled. "You have to record it. This is going to be legendary. Way ahead of you." Jessica sounded proud of herself. "I already told my cousin Emma to have her phone ready. She is sitting right by the door with the perfect angle." I stood there in that hallway feeling like someone had reached into my chest and ripped my heart out. 2.5 years. 2.5 years of my life. I thought about every time I worked overtime to buy her something special. The $800 designer bag when she forgot her wallet. The weekend trips I planned and paid for. The time she needed space whenever I wanted to visit my family but always had time for her friends. Every red flag I had ignored came flooding back. She never paid for anything. Not once. She never asked about my day, my projects at work, my dreams. She had met my parents exactly one time in 2.5 years, and she spent the whole dinner on her phone. I had met her entire extended family, at least a dozen times. How had I been so blind? My hands were shaking, my vision blurred. I wanted to storm into that room. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But then something shifted inside me. The hurt transformed into something else. Something colder. Something calculating. If she wanted a show, I would give her a show. Just not the one she was expecting. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out the velvet box. I stared at it for a long moment, this symbol of a future that had just disintegrated. Then I put it back in my inside vest pocket instead. I would need it later, but not for what I had originally planned. I walked back into the private dining room with a smile on my face. My hands had stopped shaking. My mind was crystal clear. Jessica looked up at me with that practiced smile, the one I now realized was probably fake every single time. "There you are. We were wondering where you went," she said sweetly. "Just checking on dessert," I lied smoothly. "They are bringing it out in a few minutes." I sat down next to her and put my arm around her shoulders. She leaned into me, and I could feel her body tense slightly, like she was forcing herself to play along. How had I never noticed that before I ordered another round of champagne for the table? When it arrived, I stood up to make a toast. I could see Emma, Jessica's cousin, shift in her seat and subtly angle her phone toward me. Madison and Sophia exchanged glances, barely containing their excitement. They thought this was it. They thought I was about to propose. I raised my glass and looked directly at Jessica. "I want to make a toast to the most amazing woman in my life." I paused, letting the anticipation build. Everyone leaned in. Emma's phone was definitely recording now. "Jessica, you have taught me so much in the time we have been together. Tonight, watching you surrounded by the people who love you, I am reminded of how lucky I am." Another pause. I could see Jessica's eyes starting to shine. Was she actually tearing up? Or was that part of the act too? "Happy birthday, babe. Here is to many more celebrations together." I clinked my glass against hers and took a sip. Around the table there was a moment of confused silence. No proposal. No ring. just a generic birthday toast. I watched Jessica's face try to rearrange itself from anticipation to casual happiness. Her friends looked deflated. Emma lowered her phone with a frown. For the rest of the evening, I played the perfect boyfriend. I laughed at jokes. I refilled glasses. I cut the expensive gold leaf cake and served everyone a slice. I complimented the friends who had been ready to watch my humiliation, and the whole time I felt nothing. It was like watching myself from outside my body, going through the motions of a life that had ended the moment I stood in that hallway. When the bill came, I did not even flinch at the total, $1,943. I handed over my credit card like it was nothing. Jessica gave me a tight hug and whispered, "Thank you for tonight. You are the best." I drove her home, walked her to her door, kissed her goodnight like I had done 100 times before. "Sleep well, babe. I love you," I said. "Love you too," she replied, but her voice had an edge of disappointment. She had wanted drama tonight. She had wanted a viral video of my public humiliation. Instead, she got dessert and champagne. I waited until she closed the door. Then I drove home, and I started planning. I woke up at 6 a.m. the next morning. I had not slept much, but it was not from sadness or anger. My mind had been working all night, organizing, planning, executing. The first call I made was to my bank. I reported my credit card stolen. The one Jessica had the number for the one she had used twice without asking when her card was declined. They canceled it immediately and said they would send a new one. Next, I changed every password to every account we shared. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Hulu. I had been paying for all of them. She could get her own now. Then I sat down at my laptop and opened a new email. I spent an hour writing it, making sure every word was precise, every detail accurate. When I was finished, I attached a document I had been working on during the sleepless hours of the night, an Excel spreadsheet with dates, amounts, and descriptions. The subject line read, "About last night." The email began, "Jessica, thank you for giving me 2.5 years of valuable lessons. Last night while I was in the hallway getting my jacket, I overheard a conversation in the room where you and your friends had gone to freshen up. I heard everything. I quoted her words back to her, every single sentence. How she planned to let me get on one knee. How she thought I was pathetic. How she said I did not belong in her league. How Emma was ready with her phone to record the whole thing. Then I wrote, attached is a detailed breakdown of every dollar I spent on you over the past 2.5 years. Dinners, gifts, trips, bills you forgot to pay, rent money I loaned you that you never paid back. The total comes to $34,762. I am not asking for any of it back. Consider it the cost of my education. I learned what I am not willing to accept. I learned what real love is not supposed to look like. I learned that I deserve better than someone who sees me as a pathetic ATM. The ring I was going to give you last night, I am returning it today. I will take myself to Japan with that money. Solo travel sounds incredible right now. This email is my official notification that we are done. Do not contact me. Do not show up at my apartment. Do not call my family. We are finished. I hope the video your cousin took of nothing was worth it. Chris. I hit send at 7:30 a.m. Then I blocked her number. Blocked her on every social media platform. Blocked her email address. By 7:45, my phone was exploding with calls from a number I did not recognize. I let them all go to voicemail. 10 missed calls in 15 minutes. Then the text started rolling in from other numbers. Chris, please pick up. It is not what you think. They were joking. Please let me explain. I blocked each number as it appeared. Then Madison texted from her number. Dude, she is crying hysterically. Can you just talk to her? I replied. You were all in on it. You knew exactly what she planned. Do not contact me again. Block. Sophia tried next. I did not even respond, just blocked her immediately. By noon, I had blocked 12 different numbers. I went to my bank in person and made sure Jessica had zero access to anything with my name on it. I called my landlord and confirmed that only my name was on the lease. Jessica had been staying over 4 or 5 nights a week, but legally, she had no claim to my apartment. Then I called my mother. I told her everything. She listened quietly, and when I finished, she said I never liked her honey. I am sorry you had to find out this way, but I am proud of you for walking away. That made me feel better than I expected. The first day after I sent the email, Jessica posted an Instagram story. It was a vague quote about not knowing what you have until it is gone. She deleted it 2 hours later after her comments filled up with people asking what happened. I did not see it myself. My coworker Jake told me about it because he was still following her. That same day, Jessica called my mother. Mom told me about it later. Jessica had been sobbing, saying it was all a misunderstanding, that her friends had pressured her into saying those things, that she loved me. My mother told her, "My son told me everything. Do not call here again," and hung up. Day 2 was when things escalated. Emma, the cousin with the phone, sent me a long message apologizing. She claimed she had not known Jessica was serious, that she thought it was just trash talk between friends. I did not reply. That afternoon, Jessica showed up at my office. I work in a secure building, and you need a badge to get past the lobby. I had already notified security that morning that she was not welcome. They called me when she arrived. I watched from the 3rd floor window as she stood in the parking lot for 2 hours, occasionally looking up at the building, waiting for me to come down. I never did. Eventually she left. Day 3 was when her friends started their campaign. Madison called me. I answered this time because I wanted to hear what she would say. "Please," she started, her voice desperate. "She is begging to fix this. She has not eaten in 2 days. She cannot stop crying. Just let her apologize." Madison, you sat there planning to record my humiliation. You thought it was funny. You all did. The answer is, no, it was not like that. We just thought she was venting. We did not think she would actually do it. She told Emma to have her phone ready. She planned it. You all went along with it. You are just as guilty. I hung up. An hour later, Sophia texted, "She has not eaten in 2 days. Just let her apologize, please." Then Emma, "Please, please, do not ruin her life over one mistake. One mistake." That phrase made me laugh out loud. 2.5 years of using me was not one mistake. Planning to publicly humiliate me was not one mistake. Treating me like I was beneath her while taking my money was not one mistake. I decided to respond one final time. I created a group text with Madison, Sophia, and Emma. It was not one mistake. It was 2.5 years of you all watching her use me, laugh at me behind my back, and plan to humiliate me publicly. The only mistake was mine for not seeing it sooner. Lose my number. Then I blocked all 3 of them. That evening, I went to the jewelry store and returned the ring. They gave me a full refund, $6,200 back in my account. I immediately booked a flight to Tokyo, 2 weeks, solo, leaving in a month. The power shift was complete. I was not angry anymore. I was not sad. I was free. A week after the birthday dinner, Jake told me something interesting. He had run into a mutual friend who was still in touch with Jessica's circle. Apparently, Jessica had to move back in with her parents. Turns out she had been relying on me financially way more than I realized. The luxury apartment she lived in, I had co-signed the lease and was covering 60% of the rent without even realizing it. She told me she was splitting it with a roommate, but the roommate had moved out 6 months ago. Her car payment, I had been loaning her $300 every month to cover it. Without me, her whole carefully constructed life fell apart in a week, and I felt nothing about it. Not satisfaction, not revenge, just a sense of closure. 2 weeks after the incident, I got an email from Emma. She had left it in my spam folder, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened it. She wrote that she needed to tell me the truth. The whole friend group actually did not like Jessica. They had been putting up with her for years because they felt sorry for her. She was controlling, manipulative, and mean to people when she thought no one important was watching. Emma attached screenshots of a group chat, one that Jessica was not part of. The messages were from the night of the birthday dinner after I had sent my email. Madison had written, "Finally, someone put her in her place." Sophia replied, "I cannot believe she actually thought she could treat him like that." Emma added, "He dodged a bullet." Reading those messages, I realized something profound. Jessica had been so focused on making me feel small that she had never noticed she was alone. Even the people she thought were on her team could not stand her. In trying to humiliate me, she had exposed herself to everyone who mattered. I did not respond to Emma's email, but it gave me a strange sense of peace. I was not crazy. Other people had seen what I had been too blind to see. The first week after the breakup was not easy. I am not going to pretend I was fine immediately. At night, I would lie in bed and replay memories. Her laugh when I told a dumb joke. The way she held my hand during movies. Weekend mornings making breakfast together. But then I would remember that voice in the hallway, that laugh when she called me pathetic. And it kept me strong. I started going to the gym more, not to get revenge body or anything dramatic, just because I needed somewhere to put all the energy I used to spend worrying about whether I was enough for her. I reconnected with friends I had been neglecting. Jake and I started having weekly game nights. My college roommate David invited me to join his recreational basketball league. One night, Jake and I were having beers at his place, and he said something that stuck with me. "Dude, we have been waiting for you to wake up for like a year. She was terrible to you. You just could not see it. Why did nobody say anything?" I asked. "Would you have listened?" He was right. I would not have. I was so deep in it, so convinced I had found something special that any criticism would have bounced right off. A month after the breakup, I took that trip to Japan. 2 weeks of exploring Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka by myself. I ate at tiny ramen shops where nobody spoke English. I hiked through bamboo forests. I stayed in a traditional ryokan and soaked in an outdoor hot spring under the stars. I met travelers from around the world and had real conversations about life, dreams, fears, hopes. One night in Kyoto, I was having dinner at a small izakaya, and I struck up a conversation with an older Australian couple. They had been married for 30 years. I asked them their secret, and the wife said something I will never forget. "We never keep score. We never make each other feel small. We build each other up, even when nobody else is watching." That is when it hit me. Jessica kept score of everything, every dollar I spent, every effort I made, and she used it all as proof that I was trying too hard, that I was beneath her. Real love does not keep score. Real love does not make you shrink yourself to fit. When I came back from Japan, I felt like a different person, lighter, clearer. I had spent 2.5 years walking on eggshells, constantly wondering if I was good enough, constantly trying to prove my worth. And now none of that mattered. I was enough. I had always been enough. She was just looking at the wrong things. 3 months after the birthday dinner, I am in a good place. I got a promotion at work. I am spending more time with friends and family. I picked up photography as a hobby. I am not dating anyone, and I am not looking. I am just focusing on building a life. I am proud of a life that is mine. I do not hate Jessica. Honestly, I feel sorry for her. She is going to spend her whole life chasing external validation, looking for someone to make her feel important, never realizing that happiness comes from within. She will never be satisfied because she is looking for worth in all the wrong places. Here is what I want you to take from my story. It is not about revenge. It is not about making someone pay. It is about knowing your worth and refusing to accept less than you deserve. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Do not wait for them to change. Do not wait for them to see your value. If they do not see it, they are looking at the wrong things. That night I could have proposed. I could have gotten on my knee in front of everyone, and she would have destroyed me. But instead I chose myself, and that choice saved my life. Sometimes the best revenge is not revenge at all. It is building a life so good, so full, so genuine that you forget they were ever part of it. I do not know where Jessica is now. I do not check her social media. I do not ask mutual friends, because she is not part of my story anymore. The ring, I returned it, got my money back. And you know what I did with it? I took myself on a trip to Japan, solo. Best decision I ever made. If you are in a relationship where you feel like you are constantly proving yourself, constantly not enough, constantly walking on eggshells, this is your sign. Choose yourself. Always choose yourself, because the person who is meant for you will not make you beg for basic respect. They will not make you wonder if you are enough. They will know you are, and they will make sure you know it too. That birthday dinner cost me $1,943. But it bought me something priceless, my freedom, and I would pay that price again in a heartbeat. Have you ever been in a relationship where you gave everything and got nothing in return? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one, and your experience might help someone else who needs to hear it. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel because I share real stories about real-life lessons every week. And please share this video with someone who might need to hear this message today. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that you deserve someone who sees your worth without you having to prove it. Take care of yourselves out there. You are enough. You have always been enough.